Welcome to Tips for Gamers, and today we are going to be giving you our review on the Madden 23 official gameplay video that Madden released. Madden has noticeably improved the gravity of their game with the new Field Sense system EA just added to the Madden series. People will likely not understand how truly big this is regardless of the outcome of such a system. All of us who have been rocking with Madden since we were riding our GoPeds to our girlfriend's house back in the day have now seen the official change of the game forever. And this is just the start. And of course, Field Sense could be weak business at the beginning, like a football player staying out of a game for a paper cut. However, we just witnessed the shift of the new way of football gaming. Now with Field Sense, it is a victory for us Madden gamers. Just do not be surprised if there are a lot of bugs in this game until they get it ironed out completely. This could be possibly the most buggy Madden game ever, or even one of the most frustrating ones that we have seen. EA with Madden has always been very heavy on flashy animations rather than realistic animations. We still see that today. They introduced 4 major ways to change the game with the Field Sense: hit everything, skill-based passing, 360-degree cuts, and wide receiver versus DB battles. And we will get into all 4 of these. One big thing that we notice with this gameplay and have noticed throughout the years is how slow the gameplay still looks compared to real life. Madden keeps making their game slower and slower, it feels like, and we will show you what we mean throughout the video. I don't know if you guys remember, but Madden used to have a setting to where you could adjust the gameplay speed, and they have removed that in recent times. And make sure to check out our brand new Minecraft resource pack called T4G's Builder Pack. It is the most realistic Minecraft resource pack for Java Edition. We have stucco, great wood, amazing doors that will only get better, and bricks that will shock you. If you or anyone you know plays Minecraft, make sure to share a pack with them or check it out yourself. It can be found in the links in the description below. You can find out how to download it on our Patreon, and you can also see the video in the links in the description below as well.
In Madden 22, you could predict the outcome of a play based on the animation that was triggered.
And it's actually pretty cool to see Madden say this, because they're basically admitting that there were issues with the game. They admitted it also with franchise mode, and they've been talking about how they're going to do better, which is cool to see.
Thanks to Field Sense, in Madden 23, we can dynamically branch out of tackling, catching, and blocking interactions so you can change the outcome until the play is over. We've captured over 3,500 new animations covering an array of different interactions.
Now, it's completely awesome that they have 3,500 new animations into the game with the Field Sense. However, these animations are incredibly slow. It looks like they're like Pee-wee football players out there, and that's even a disgrace to Pee-wee football teams out across the nation. It is just so slow, so unrealistic, that it's painful to see. And I love where they're going with this, but at the same point in time, some of this stuff is just ridiculous. And honestly, you don't even have to be a pro football player to understand how bad this actually looks. So I think this is the start, but I think this is really bad. So watch this guy. He's going to be the receiver here. He's going to go down and he's going to make his break into his route. And you're going to see his breakdown is so slow, so ridiculous that it's insane. So he makes his break. A D tackle would be able to cover that guy. I mean, if we're being completely honest here, a D tackle would be on this guy. It'd be easy. And the animations are just not that great. Now, this is a big one here for us that we just really did not want to see. You can see the guy to the right. He's hugging onto this football player who has a ball like it's his mom, and it's the first day of school or something. He doesn't want to let go. I mean, it is just insane. He doesn't actually throw him to the ground. No aggression whatsoever. He's just literally hugging onto him. He has his head down, and he's just chopping his feet with him as he goes and waits for this guy to come up and make the hit. And it's just so unrealistic. Like, watch this chop. Why do this? This is like, if you did that in Pee-wee football, they would probably bench you. I mean, this is just, it just doesn't make sense. He's just holding on to him and chopping his feet. And even this Josh Allen tackle and Josh Allen with the help of Josh Allen is, and I don't even know why they're showing Josh Allen doing this stuff. This is the weirdest thing to me too, as well, is just your presentation is strange. But here he's holding on to him. This Josh Allen comes in and makes a hit, and this Josh Allen falls down like he's a Pee-wee football player, and he's an armadillo. I mean, it's strange, and some of the animations go again with how slow this game is, and it's really unrealistic in so many different ways.
Everything. Essentially, this new defensive gameplay approach gives you more ways to make stops from every position on every play. With Hit Everything, you can hit the pile and generally cause mayhem anywhere on the field in pursuit of the ball.
And we see another one here that's it's just strange. It feels weird. The offensive lineman is holding up the D-end, D-tackle, linebacker, whoever's coming in. He's coming in a bull rush. He's got his hands on the inside of his pad. He's got his helmet down. So he's coming in for as much power as possible for the bull rush. Now, for a bull rush to be coming in, even if the lineman is strong enough to hold that bull rush back and to take on that bull rush, that offensive lineman is going to fall backwards unless you're an absolute animal. So that's one thing that we need to understand. If that lineman is holding this bull rush and they're just chopping their feet like this, you're donezo. You're not going to get past that big old hog molly because they're just holding and chopping their feet. Someone comes in and chops his legs out from underneath him. I don't know if the player's falling. I don't know what it is. But this is exactly how it feels in Madden. Slow, unrealistic, just is weird. It's just very strange because then he falls down, and even the way he falls down is just slow. It's just really, really weird. And if you two are just holding each other up, okay, and that's really what you're doing. You're holding each other up, and you're just, chopping your feet. You're not going to all of a sudden get a surge of power and just throw the offensive lineman.
Tackling system, it'll change the way our players defend the passing game. In the NFL, there's no one way to defend the pass. Sometimes DBs play the ball, and some situations demand that you get physical and play the receiver. With Field Sense, Madden 23 brings all that action to life, putting you in control. Force mid-air knockouts at the point of the catch, lay a big hit on a receiver to force a drop, or push a receiver out of bounds before he can get his feet down. Hit Everything also introduces a new stand-up tackle mechanic that gives you the ability to control the result of two-man tackles. A defender can hold up the ball carrier in an effort to buy time for a teammate to move in and make a play on the ball. Or the ball carrier can break the tackle to gain extra yards.
Now, when it comes to the receivers getting hit out of bounds and all that stuff, it's fantastic. It's great to see. You have a little bit more of an ability to really knock out some passes and things like that are frustrating. Okay, but still, nonetheless, this is cool to see. What I have an issue with, or what I think people have an issue with, is this stand-up tackling here. You're going to grab him and you're just going to hold him up while another guy comes and makes a tackle. Your initial thing as a defensive player is to not hold the guy up. Okay, that's just not typically what they're going to do. They're going to try to bring him to the ground. Okay, except for you do see a lot of NFL players now just hitting with their shoulders and stuff like that. But this is one of those things that I really hope doesn't initiate to where both guys are just spamming the hell out of A, and then whoever wins it is going to throw the other guy off. And then it could get really, really, really frustrating because it's just so unrealistic to 90% of your play, even 60% of your play, probably even 50% of your play, to hold the guy up and wait for another guy to come in and tackle or try to go for the ball. So they have to be careful with this, how much they're going to have you hold guys up all the time.
Authentic gameplay environment where you're actually playing to the very end of every play. We felt that in Madden 22, while you had some control over ball placement, too much of the outcome was left up to the game and not the player. With skill-based passing in Madden 23, you've got the control to put the ball exactly where you want, just like Patrick Mahomes. With this new mechanic, we're revamping our pass slating from the ground up to enable throws that you just couldn't make in the game before.
Now this is huge. This is the biggest part. This is where Madden truly crushed it. The skill-based passing is phenomenal. This is a great, great concept and something that is, you could just really get so customizable in how you play as a quarterback and your offensive strategy because, I mean, the best quarterbacks, the guys who are going to be just lights out, they're going to be throwing perfect passes and just being able to read the field and, really have the control of realism. I mean, and this is something that, and Madden was completely correct before that, when you would throw the ball, it was more based upon the game. It was more up to the game than it was up to you as the actual player. So this is a huge hit for Madden. This is great. This is really what a lot of people have been frustrated with, is that man, why'd you throw the ball there? How'd you go there? How'd you do this? And it's just more simplified of like, you're more in charge. Your gameplay is customizable to you and how you play quarterback. So this is huge for us. I think Madden did absolutely great with this, and I hope they keep going with this and really just innovate this type of system, the skill-based passing system, with their field sense. Great job on this. Now, the only other question I have with the skill-based passing system is how's it going to work with the bullet passes? You know, how accurate is it going to be to where you loft it up, you put it in a certain angle? You know, how does that correlate on the field? I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be more realistic than it's ever been before. I'm just curious to see how that's going to actually play out.
You can place the ball on a corner route or drop it in on a deep vertical route, all with the same risk and reward of elite NFL QBs. Skill-based passing is a game changer for all skill levels. In Madden 22, running the ball using the left stick lacked total control. At times, players would get gradual banking turns versus sticking a foot in the ground and making a hard cut, leading to situations where you just couldn't make a play and pick up those extra yards.
Now, this is something that we had such a huge issue with Madden. Before, in previous Maddens, it would used to be really loose. Like, you'd get the ball, and you could just squiggle up and down the field. And it was almost like you didn't have ankles, like they were just like roller wheels or something, because it was almost too OP. And then they turned it and said, well, it's too OP, that we're going to kind of knock it down. And then they made it like this. And you could see Christian McCaffrey here, you know, in last year's Madden. And it was atrocious. I mean, it was absolutely atrocious how bad the rounding was. I mean, players, it just like took them like they were like had to round around instead of just being able to make a cut and go. And again, you're seeing them talk about how their game was just not good. And they keep talking about it, how, you know, we had issues with this, we had issues with that. And so it's nice to see. It's pretty refreshing to hear them say, we missed an opportunity last year. You know, we did this and it just wasn't successful. That's a plus, and we got to give Madden credit and respect for admitting that there were issues, because at the end of the day, that's really all you can do is admit that you have issues and then try to move on from them and be better with your product. Now, you can see Christian McCaffrey here get the ball, and this is what we talked about before, this rounding out. Christian McCaffrey would just go right here. That first down guaranteed with Christian McCaffrey. But here, this rounding out, I mean, Christian McCaffrey was never this slow even when he was born. This is so slow, it's ridiculous. Rounding out. Look how much rounding out he has to do. Look at how slow his feet just chopping. It's like he's like a kid on the upstairs floor who's trying to be as loud as possible and banging his feet. Boom, 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 boom. Like really exaggerated and stuff like that. Like, dude, just run. You know, so that is certain things that we saw. The rounding out was just, holy crap, it took so long. And it's like their hips were glued together. Or like, you know, they had cement legs or something like that back in the day.
Pick up those extra yards. The new 360 cut mechanic in Madden 23 lets you utilize L2 and the left stick for more freedom when controlling the ball carrier. Now you can precisely hit the gaps as you see them from any position, whether you're a running back, a quarterback on the run, receiver after a catch, or if you're returning a kickoff or interception. 360 cuts offer total control. In face of the franchise, you can play out your NFL career at one of 5.
Yeah, so it's pretty awesome, right? The 360 cuts. How I feel about the 360 cuts is I like it, and I feel like they also missed the boat slightly on this. And the reason I think that they missed the boat on this is because of the fact that it really should be more based upon the player's attributes. Right, that's really what it should be. So you can see here, he makes a cut, and that's a great cut. I mean, that you could not make a better cut in a football game. So I have to give my hats off to this here. But not all players should be able to make that kind of cut, okay? Because a lot of players don't. So if you don't have like the elusiveness or the COD in this, you know, your guy can still make that kind of cut, but it should look real slow, like just not that good. Honestly, I don't almost think that this should be an animation more than just control of the sticks. All right. You know, it's not really, you shouldn't have to like push any buttons down. You should just be able to kind of like swivel in and out more, and you should just get penalized for the swivel to where it's decreased in speed and efficiency depending on the attributes. So that's kind of more how I feel about it, because I feel like this is just like, you're going right like this, and you're like, okay, I just hit left. You just push left all of a sudden, and then you go. The fact you have to kind of hold down some buttons, you have to hold down the left trigger and then do it, is just, I don't love it as much as just making it a part of the movement. And the other thing I see about this as well is that it is going to be incredibly hard, I do believe, for defensive guys to tackle running backs because of this animation. I want to see how this animation stacks up, with defensive animations. Do you do a whiff? What happens? Do you get locked into this weird animation mechanical dance with the running back, and you have to stop and go, oh, no matter what you do as the player, the minute he hits that animation, you're toast. You're sitting there watching them run by, even though you're waiting for it or you timed it good as the player. And then, how's that hit everything going to compare with this? And I kind of wish they would have showed that. This is how the hit everything is with this. And, our new system, this is it compared to one another. Instead of them just showing, this is what we did individually, we'll show them not only individually, but stacked up together.
Face of the franchise, you can play out your NFL career at one of 5 different positions, including wide receiver and defensive back.
Now, this is cool. It's fantastic. But the thing is Face of the Franchise is such a weird mode. The campaign mode is truly boring to me. It's very boring, and I don't care about their stupid campaign mode. The way they have the storylines and all of that stuff, I just don't care enough, because what I really want is to make it customizable to me and to whatever I'm feeling. And I believe that should be the case with all people who play this game. I should be able to choose and customize whether I go undrafted, whether I go into the NFL and I'm first overall pick, whatever it may be. I want to be able to do that. I don't want to have a storyline to where I got to have this drama-filled scene crap, bold, and, all this crap where it's drama in my life. And I don't want it. I just want to play football and have different storylines for whichever way I decide to go. Because Face of the Franchise, let's face it, it's the exact same mode as player mode. It's just in a different spot. And player mode in franchise used to actually be great. I wouldn't say great, but it was actually, a lot more fun than it has been in recent years. You used to be able to get drafted by random teams, not just go and pick the team that you want to play with. You should have the options of both. But in reality, you have 2 player modes in different parts of the game, and it's just weird. It doesn't make sense. It kind of seems like they want to go the NBA 2K22 route, where they have the My Player, where you could go around in this little city, and it's kind of customizable in that degree, but they haven't really jumped on it full board, and they really should, because that is a great mode that NBA 2K came out with, and they're not doing it here on Madden. They're creating the same mode. One of them, they're just letting it dwindle to nothing and saying, well, play it if you want, but it's so boring. And then the other one, they're like, play this mode, but you really don't have you can't really customize it to the nth degree like you should be able to do it. And, and it just shows you, even in this video, they talk about it here for, what is it, like not even 10 seconds, whatever it is. I don't know what it is.
Face of the franchise, you can play out your NFL career at one of 5 different positions, including wide receiver and defensive back.
And then it's over. I mean, so that's what we're seeing here, is like, there you go. There's our thing, the Face of the Franchise, and then it's done. It's not as big. And, of course, they're talking about field sense here and their field sense system, and it's more about gameplay rather than the modes. However, that it just shows that it's like, all right, well, some of these modes here, yeah, you did the gameplay and stuff, but you're not really intermingling it in all that well with the modes that are going to cause us to buy the game.
And while the new 1v1 battles are available in every mode, this is where it really comes to life. New branching receiver footwork delivers more control when battling with DBs. We've added a whole new suite of wide receiver release moves and open field cuts that empower players to create separation from the secondary. With these new open field cut moves, you now have the ability to get creative and fake out the DB. To counter, DBs have new press mechanics, so you can battle on both sides of the ball. How you position yourself as a DB is going to influence your ability to lock up a receiver off the line. We built this year's game to empower players in a number of ways. We're just getting started with a new foundation for gameplay through FieldSense.
Yeah, so I like the wide receiver versus DB battles. I think they're onto something there. I think overall they've made progress, and definitely moving in the right direction. No question about that. There are definitely concerns with franchise mode and other things that I really wish that they would go after and make that mode better and to kind of change some things up, stop being so slow. I really don't want to see them be as slow as they are on the field. I don't want to see this like pee-wee football gameplay. And before we end this video, we have to express something that is unfortunate that we feel. EA spent so much time just copying and pasting their game for so long that franchise mode still feels neglected to this day. We have to give EA credit for their victories, but at the same time we have to hold them to a certain standard. EA owns the NFL contract and has been the only one to own it for many years now until recent times. And even now, they still own the exclusive rights to be the only simulation football game. EA needs to give the fans of football that buy their game a better service. This is about the sport of football and the fans that make this sport all of its money. EA is our only option. And if you are the only option, you need to provide us, your providers, with decent service. Franchise mode has been neglected for so long that we do not understand how the contract with the NFL gives you the right to have exclusivity to be the only simulation football game. We need more in franchise mode, and the avid Madden franchise gamer needs to still remind EA of our standards as a customer. We paid you in advance throughout the years. It would be nice to have you pay us back by giving us a solid franchise mode.
High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes.